Hello and welcome to Cameron's art room dissertation class uh, comic book class. Woo, we made it. All right. So I'm just gonna try to shoot this raw because I've already done it, so hopefully it should be pretty easy to go through. But today we will be going through chapter 1 of my indie comic. This is self-made. I drew it. I wrote it. Um Even though I don't know if this one is the one that has the letters. Oof, I might have to re-download that, but yeah, we can just go through the pictures at least. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm actually gonna go back and change a lot of the context surrounding certain things, just to kind of update it with the kind of lore that I built out for it. Um, but yeah, essentially, just to give a little pretext in terms of like what this is and what this will be. This is a superhero story. Very much inspired by my love for other genres like sci-fi, fantasy, and mainly horror. I'm like a big horror head. Sounds like I sound like a big horror head. Horror. um, but yeah, so this is kind of inspired by just a few different things and different characters. I really wanted a main character that felt really cool, but with a power that felt tangible and kind of mechanical almost. So of course you're gonna have those big like anime moments where it's like, oh, I gotta give it my all, but as you can see here, he has sort of this energy field around him. This is essentially like just a depiction of his energy source. He has the light construct power. And in this world that I'm creating, you either have an elemental ability, or you have a physical prowess ability. So let's say you're a guy who has super strength, right? You have super strength and it's capped to a certain point. And the benefit of that is that nobody can take away your powers. There's no lack of resources. There's no like running out of, whatever element that you need, or some sort of like MacGuffin that takes away abilities. It's literally just you're just strong. But the downside to that is that you have to literally like maintain it if you have a physical ability. Um, so this character right here, he's gonna be kind of special. Won't spoil it too much, but he partially a partial his powers are partially like built around like the physical stuff, or like this main character right here, your powers could be elemental. So that would mean like water, fire, ice, gas, steam, wood, metal, anything that acts as like just an element of nature and has physical properties counts as an element. And a really cool twist to that is I was thinking of a character, let's see here, who has flight. And sorry for the messy sketch. This isn't the final imagery for the comic that I released. The actual like updated versions on my iPad, so I would have to lock that in. But so flight. Flight in its universe would you would think would probably be like a biological power, right? So that would be like a physical power. But it actually is an elemental power. It is a expression of being able to control air, the wind, or I mean any, I guess, like dense enough like material that could move you through the sky, but primarily like air or wind, gas, something like that. Because you'd have to change like the density of the air around you to fly, um, and to move quicker while you're flying. So that's actually an elemental case. Um, and this is a really cool shot. A funny story, when I drew this, I did not have an idea of what this guy's powers were explicitly, at least at the top. I kind of had an idea that he just had some sort of construct making ability, but I wanted him to have something that kind of felt like almost supernatural. So it's just kind of this parasitic looking like dark substance that he has control over, that he kind of can just like use to amplify his already base abilities. Um, and then here you have this cool guy. I really wanted like a chimera type character where it's like he's human, but he's these like weird horns and he has wings and he has like he's basically the ability to kind of like maneuver his body into any shape and also maybe some type of like energy dispersion. Again, I drew this very much kind of like in a I want to draw something really cool and vibey sort of mood. So a lot of the context I later came up with it's consistent enough, but I'm just going back through this chapter to change certain phrases, certain motions, just kind of making sure that it's consistent and teases the things I want to be teased and keep certain things secret. So from here and here, this is actually a flash forward scene, and this is the continuation of the flash forward scene. And so it's supposed to be kind of on a final, like kind of face off, like, oh, I'm coming at you, sort of thing. And then we cut to the present day. And in the official, we have like an actual kind of phrasing to make sure it's present day. But so I really wanted to start this chapter off, not really like holding the reader's hand in terms of like, I'm Ryan Johnson. I got my powers like this. I I go to school. Like I really did not want to do that sort of like we're waiting for the cool stuff to happen. I wanted to say, okay, well, what if we're just dropped in the cool stuff and it gets cooler from here? So right here we have this fight starting off. It's a pretty cool way to I think start off kind of like this page kind of teases like an impact. So then you pay that off with this impact here, and you cut to the present day, and you have your main character kind of flying backward, like, and then I think he says something like, ah, and falls down. And he just says a little thought bubble that's like, God, this hurts. um, and then I heard like a little funny joke here that was like, basically him saying to this guy, you're gonna pay for that, and then ending on also where'd your shirt go. This is like a funny little like like I feel like people in comic books always end up like fighting shirtless for some reason. So um yeah, then this is just kind of continuation of the fight. He's just kind of teasing him a bit, kind of threatening him, and then he kind of like is basically calling him out for being like a weirdo, and then he gets kind of like amused, but then goes in for the kill. um And here was probably like the hardest page for a while because like this is my first chapter of a produced comic ever. So like, or in terms of at least like uh, action, I hadn't really done action at this point majorly. So like, I wanted to get just a quick little motion scene in here just to kind of show like a little bit of movement. So the idea he's like kind of launching himself to punch this guy. He's kind of saying a quip, just something like, "Oh, like could you wait a minute?" Da, da, da. And he comes down, boom, you see the kind of explosion behind him, and then you see this guy kind of dodge out of the initial one, and he shoots his kind of like energy beam over here to zip him up, and then you see him kind of like reclaim his like standing right here, but with his energy beam still attached to the guy that he places on him right here. So he has it, and then he's like, "Oh, you got me," and he's like, "Yep, dude." And he swings him into a wall. I'm like making the noises. But yeah, and he says something kind of like the wall taste, motherfucker. But it cuts off because we're a PG comic. I'm just kidding. It's not PG. It's probably like it's weird. I don't know what I should rate this. Also, I don't know if like comic books have the same like rating scale as like a movie. So I'm like, I don't know if I need to, but there isn't really anything gratuitous, I would say. The only thing is there's probably gore and blood. I would say there's gore and blood, but not like, at least at this point, not a lot of gore and not a lot of blood, but just like violence, like superhero stuff. Um, so this is a really cool shot to me because I really like the composition of kind of the mirroring of him smacking and falling into the wall with this one where he smacks and the main character smacks and falls. Um, and what's funny is I didn't really even mean to like make that a thing. It just kind of happened, and I realized I literally made the exact same shot composition of like smack then fall, and I thought that was pretty cool. So, and this is a really cool shot because you see silhouetted right here. Um, we have the introduction of this really cool character named Admiral Lance. And at the time, I knew I wanted him to be sort of a, I don't know how to describe him, sort of a mixture between maybe a Gojo, Homelander, Superman, and a bit of like Cyclops a bit. And you see that with some of his design choices. So let's go introduce ourselves to Admiral Lance. Boom. This is him. For context, I think he said something like he cuts him off from cursing and he's like, hey, geez, like you're getting pretty edgy, kid. Da-da-da. And he's like, you must be hanging out with some hero, I forgot, but basically kind of like the Batman of this universe. Also, sorry if I'm talking really fast, but yeah, this is Admiral Lance. For his design, it's kind of basic because I kind of wanted to have the ability to add more later on if I really wanted to, and not like lock in something so kind of one way that it didn't really like give me any room to change anything. And even as I'm like kind of drawing pages after this, I'm kind of like, I see things where I'm like, I kind of want to change this. I kind of want to give him more, like, just in terms of iconography, logos, stuff like that. But I really wanted him to look like a classic, like, hero, like a Superman archetype. And you kind of get the Cyclops vibe with the visor here. Obviously, like Homelander, Superman vibes with the cape. I really wanted like also like 3D gloves. I really like the idea of like just big gloves. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of like classic hero vibes, and this was a pretty cool shot to do. So I feel like it's a pretty cool introduction for him. I might color this someday, but and this is probably one of my favorite pages because this was like the first time I could really like kind of draw or show emotion in like a casual way. Without like having it be so like comic book harsh lines, stuff like that. So just him kind of being like, he kind of breaks his momentum up with this. He kind of confuses him a bit. So he's like, oh, what are you doing here? And he's just like being a good Samaritan. I want him to have a very like kind of dry, sarcastic humor, kind of funny. So he's like kind of not a dick, but like, or can I say that? Not a jerk, but like sort of a, yeah, this guy is kind of full of himself almost, you know? So he says something like being a good Samaritan. Like, I mean, what are you, like 14, 15? Imagine what kind of hero would I be if I let every, you know, angsty kid, you know, put on a mask and go fight crime. And he has a kind of funny moment where he's like, I'm actually 17. Like, that makes him an adult. You know, like he's kind of annoyed. So they kind of have this bickering, like, like they know each other, but there is a little bit of distance and a little bit of apprehensiveness to their kind of relationship. And you don't really know why, but it's based in the idea that these two people come from different walks of life. Like, Rick is an unlicensed, and by the way, the main character's name is Rick. I don't know if I said that. His superhero name is really cool. It's Beacon. He has light powers, so, and also thematically, it makes sense. So this guy is like unlicensed. He's essentially like doing it for the opportunity to get licensed, which in this universe would get him money. Like, so it's like, oh, I want to escape my financial situation. I want to be able to use my powers to like get an easy, cushy life, like all these other people are doing, right? So he has no really heroic intent in what he's doing at this point. And Lance here is, he kind of knows that, so he's kind of playing him a bit. Just kind of seeing him out, feeling him out. But I haven't really confirmed how much of a, well, actually, let me get to that. I haven't confirmed how much of a bad person I want him to be. At least not yet. So, just the next few pages. So this beat ends right here, and he's kind of like, just like, you know, he's like, oh, well, of course I had to come here. I had to make sure you're okay. And he's like, don't you see, like, you know, like I don't need any help, obviously. And he's like, you sure about that? And we cut this next page where he's like, am I sure? Of course I am. And then you see right here this kind of silhouette of this guy coming back after getting knocked out and like almost taking his head off. And you see Lance kind of super speed him out the way. then you see that Lance has an elemental ability as well as a physical ability. So this shows you he's very powerful because he has two of the types of abilities that you should not be able to have, at least if you don't have a certain thing in the universe that I won't spoil now, but there's a reason why he has two. And you see this really cool moment where he's using this laser beam. And I really wanted to have the lasers come out of visor. I don't know why. I just really like lasers that aren't like eyes, like little like thin eye strips, you know? Like, I hate that. I really like how like Cyclops is like the only one that really has this, but is depicted shooting his lasers where they're kind of like this thin thing that can kind of like, I don't know. I just really like the look of it. But here you see him kind of crack his pinky, and he's kind of like tensing up and repeating the phrase like pressure, 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 and it's kind of like he's kind of like, what is he doing? And then you see on the next page, this allows him to basically like output his energy like way more, and he's like, choo. And it's funny beat where the guy kind of, you get the sense that this guy has been through this, like he's main character's been through seeing this guy do stuff like this before. So he's like, oh, should I put a shield up? And he's like, yeah, I don't want a kid dying on my watch. It's kind of like a crass joke. And then he's kind of like, all right, I'll end this now. Like kind of, and then he super speeds here casually. And this guy is saying something that the main character doesn't hear, but you obviously as the reader will see it. It's something like I did what you, and then he cuts him off. And he's like, you know, I actually hate this mask. And he takes it off to reveal. Oh, also it's like a little character moment. He takes off the mask and he says, you know, I hate this thing, but whatever keeps him happy, I guess. Just to give you the idea that like this guy isn't fully like okay with his role in the world, and there's some falseness to it. And then you see this last blast that comes from an uncovered his eyes, where it's like, and the whole page has like, you know, like effect phrases and like action lines and stuff. But yeah, so he's like boom, and he shoots him, and he kind of does this little combo where he flies around the guy falling or getting pushed back, and then he kind of catches him on a punch, and you see this really big like impact moment, like doo. And then here the guy basically shows him like crashing through like different walls. I'll probably do like multiple panels where like he crashes through each panel. And then he's like, this is this little funny gag later where they're gonna be like, or they were like, oh, that's gonna cost a lot. And he's like, oh, insurance should cover it. He's like, insurance? And he's like, yeah, Guild covers everything except dental. And then main character's like, why wouldn't they cover? And then I forgot. Damn, it's so cringy. But nah, it's funny. It's like a little like workplace humor. Basically, the joke is like this superhero company is too broke to cover dental insurance, but they cover everything else. And it's like, you know, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And then this is like second to last page where I kind of want to change some things because it's kind of is teasing that the guy you just saw was evil, and it comes to that. But then I realized that's terrible pacing because you end on this joke, and then just the next thing before any downtime is just this immediate like I'm evil thing. So the final version of this chapter actually has it where Lance here takes the main character to like a diner, and there's some kind of shorthand conversation where it's like, oh, you learn a bit about the world building, and then you learn about like the main character's kind of anxieties and stuff like that. And then this is the last page. The last page is staying the same, but a lot of the context before it has changed. So yeah, that's kind of run through the first kind of, you know, crack at writing my own comic book. And this is just to show that, like, you know, the first time doesn't have to be perfect, because again, like I said, there's so many things that I want to change and that I will change, because I'm actually going to revise a lot of the stuff in chapter 1 and a little bit in chapter 2, just to keep it consistent throughout all my lore. Because for a while when I was doing this, I didn't even have the power system in my head in terms of what I knew it was going to be. So yeah, I don't know, I just really wanted to just kind of walk through this Little sneak peek. If you sit at the end, I'll show you this. This is the last page of chapter 3 of my comic. Pretty cool. So yeah, Undesirables is real. It's happening. For as long as I can draw and keep up drawing, which I hope to be for the rest of my life. But you know, I'm really gonna put my all into doing this because I really feel like young people, especially ones who are already kind of gifted, not gifted, but like in a place where you've done all the work creatively to like get to a point where you can just make stuff. I feel like you have a duty to make stuff. So I really want to like make something and have this be real. So yeah. So if you like Undesirables and you like what I showed you, I'll definitely get better at making YouTube videos. So just, check me out and keep me in your mind. Appreciate all the love I've gotten on the shorts, and if you followed me on TikTok or anything like that, appreciate it. But yeah, so I'll probably have more news surrounding. Also, chapter 3. This chapter will actually come out in black and white. I'm gonna go ahead and announce this plan in this video. It'll come out in black and white. That means chapters 1, 2, and 3 will be free. Link is in my bio on this YouTube account. It's also on my Instagram, which I'll put up. And if you want to follow me on like TikTok, too, that'd be great. So I'll put that up as well. But yeah, so I'll release 3. Then there'll be 1, 2, 3 out. For free on Global Comics. Again, link in bio, and Lincoln's also in the bio on Instagram too. And then I'll let those sit, and I'll just push advertising them so much so that like I can get kind of as many kind of dedicated like followers as I can. And then I will probably re-release 1 through 3, but colored. So I'll go through in the time that they're kind of sitting up, being read by people, and just recolor them. And then I'll probably start the comic on more of an official level because I'll actually have some like fully colored comic book later on, and then I'll drop 1 through 3 weekly again, but these will be paid and they will be a little bit different and they'll be in color. Think about it like a remaster almost. And then the story will pick up at chapter 4. So if you read 1 through 3 in black and white, 1 through 3 in color is gonna be different. Then you're just gonna get new chapters after that, basically. So yeah, good. Thank you for watching.